And we are back for another casual conversation with the classic guys. I'm here with none other than Mr. Stone himself, Robert Stone. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, and I want to apologize right off the bat because I hate doing interviews in my car, but Stevie Turner found out I had this interview, and she was like stalking me where I was at, so I'm kind of like hiding in my car right now doing this. So I apologize. I know the wheel here, and it's not typically what I would like to do, but it is what it is. And hey, at least I'm wearing a cutoff because these are what's under that suit. Can you believe that?
Yeah, there you go. And it's a sunny day. It's a nice visual. It's not like
Yeah.
raining or anything. I don't know
Yeah.
what type of Wi-Fi you have going on, but it's working, so we're good.
Hey.
I've had people in their car and then there's like a lag or something going on, so we're good. You brought her up, so I want to ask about that because I was gonna ask about that. Like, what is the relationship with Stevie Turner? Are you guys like frenemies? Or you try to work together? What's going on there?
Well, if you ask her that, she'll probably say we're best friends. We work together. We got a great thing going on. She's kind of obsessed with me, like if that sums it up. But as far as what our actual relationship is, I mean, we both kind of work for Ava. We help Ava out with some errands. I think I'm actually the more professional one who should be in that role and position. Stevie just is kind of there. I don't know how it happened. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she's weaseled her way in. And Ava likes her for some reason, but I'm working on never having to see her again. So that's in the future, I hope.
Speaking about Ava, she has a big weekend on her hands with Halloween Havoc. It's always a little crazy when this event comes. Ton of great matches on there. You got Ridge Holland and Andre Chase. You got Ethan Page and Trick Williams. You got the tag match. Roxanne and Corjada and Stephanie McCurr and Julia. A ton of great matches on there. What match are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, I don't want to be whatever with the answer and say every match. Every match is going to be great, but I'll tell you this: the Ridge Holland Andre Chase match. I personally don't. It's been a while since there's been an ambulance match, and they're few and far between. They don't happen often, so I'm kind of excited to see that because when you involve an ambulance, anything could really happen. I feel like I think it could get all the matches could get crazy, but I feel like that one could really get crazy. So I think that one just kind of intrigues me because of what the stipulation is.
It's funny that prior to like five years ago, maybe people would look back at Halloween Havoc and WCW and the spin the wheel and make a deal and like laugh at it. It'd be like one of those wrestle crap things. But now it's like back and everybody loves it. Like they're gonna spin the wheel.
Yeah. And hey, look, Halloween Havoc's a fun PLE to watch. But I've had some bad experiences. I've gotten ran over by a tank on Halloween Havoc. I've gotten thrown off a ladder on Halloween Havoc. So I'm kind of happy that I'm more on the sidelines this year. So at least I'm not going to physically get hurt.
Fair enough.
Mentally, maybe.
I mean, that's Oberfemi and Tony D'Angelo. It's just a stat card. Kalani's facing one of the Fatal Influence women. Like, it's going to be really intriguing, guys. Check out Halloween Havoc this Sunday on, it's a PLE. I was about to say on pay-per-view, but it's a PLE. Check out Halloween Havoc on Peacock, guys. Let's talk about NXT moving to the CW. How has that change been? What do you think about it? Also, the trade shows, one in Chicago and one in St. Louis.
Well, change is always fun. Change is always exciting. CW has great audience and great viewership, and everyone at the CW has been great. They're super excited to have NXT on the network. So that's been great. Yeah, I mean, you said it. The first episode, Chicago. The NXT Arena is amazing. There is nothing like it. But for a lot of these performers who are newer to the industry, for them to travel and to be in a different arena, it's just fun. And Chicago, well, just everywhere, they don't get NXT often. So when we come to their town, they're excited for it because they don't get to see us. So the crowd was on fire. The same thing happened in St. Louis the next week. And the cool thing about, Chicago is a big arena, but St. Louis was kind of like a smaller, intimate venue, which just makes it, I know Randy Orton talked about in an interview, just how different that was for him, how much fun that is. There's just something different about the vibe of it. And, now we're back in the NXT arena. Things are great. But in 2 weeks, we go to the, 2300 arena, formerly the ECW arena, which is going to be insane for NXT. Philly loves when NXT comes to the area. So ever since the move to CW, it's just been really fun every week. It's different.
A lot of people compared that St. Louis arena to the ECW Arena. Like, this feels like the ECW Arena, like the smaller venue, more intimate venue, but it was cool. The visuals are cool. The entrances seemed like the fans were so close to the talent. And then just to find out like a week and a half later that like, oh, we're gonna actually go to the 2200 Arena.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a show there. I feel like that was like bound to happen, and it's gonna be super cool. So if you guys enjoyed the show in St. Louis, so you're gonna enjoy the show at the ECW Arena. It's gonna have a cool vibe for sure. How's it working with Shawn Michaels? How is it being under the thumb of Shawn Michaels and his influence over your career and everything happening in NXT?
You know, you ask, hey, who were your favorite wrestlers growing up? And, you know, most people would say Shawn Michaels, but one of my favorite wrestlers was Shawn Michaels. So that's always a cool thing that you got to remind yourself. But also, you know, when I came to NXT, I've already been doing this for when I got here for 19 years. So, you know, you kind of think you know everything. I'd done a lot. I'd wrestled all over the world. I kind of come here and I'm like, you know, I'm ready to go. I'm a 10. I know everything. Then you talk to Shawn Michaels and you kind of sit under his learning tree and you realize there are more. And that's the cool thing about wrestling. You're always learning. But I've just so many different things, you know, I've learned from him. A lot of them just little things, but the little things in sports entertainment are the important things. So I think every conversation I have with him, whether it's 30 seconds or 30 minutes, I get something out of it, which is, you know, at my age, it's still cool to say out loud that I'm still learning.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's awesome. We've seen you in the ring with Lexis King. We've seen you in the ring with Rhea Ripley in a handicap match. We've seen you in the ring here and there. Will we see you in the ring anytime soon?
Oh, God, I hope not. No. It seems like every time I'm in the ring, it's under circumstances that I don't really want. But except for the Lexis King one, I wanted to get at him. Braun Breaker. Actually, last Halloween Havoc, Braun Breaker. So we're out from that. You know, never say never.
Talk about getting run over by a tank. That's another tank right there.
Yeah, you know, I was hoping we were. I brought that up earlier, so we wouldn't have to talk about that. So I got ran over by a tank not once, not twice, but 3 times. You know, it didn't feel good, and somehow now. My kids are about to be 8 years old and they are starting to play with YouTube, and somehow they have found that and they have fun bringing that video to me, showing me getting run over by a tank. So I get to see it often. But as for me returning to the ring, yeah, I mean, never say never. I'm always ready to go. I stay in, you know, my lifestyle is staying in tip-top shape. You know, I work out 5-6 days a week. I'm regularly still around wrestling, and, you know, it's not the kind of thing that, it's very natural to me. It's not the kind of thing I have to retrain for. I'm ready to go now if I have to. And I think that's and I'm not saying I'm the only one that's like that, but I think a lot of people would have to get back in the groove or train. If you tell me I got a match at, you know, 4:00 today, I'll be ready for it at any time. So I'm sure you will see Robert Stone in a ring again.
No, for sure. And I think it's super cool that like you do wear many different hats. Like you can play different roles, and that's something a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do. And that being said, years ago in NXT, you had the Robert Stone brand and you had Chelsea Green in there. We got to kind of see you guys interact again recently, and she's been showing up on NXT again. Is that something or someone you'd want to get back together with and kind of get behind?
I mean, me and Chelsea are friends inside and outside of the ring. We were friends before NXT. We're still friends now. We talk regularly. So, you know, it's always something that is on my mind and I would love to do. It's just got to be like, if, you know, the time is right. Everything's about timing, if we fit together. But Chelsea, hands down. I mean, most people knew it already, but if they didn't, the world is finding out now just how entertaining she is and how great she is. And you talk about wearing hats that I could, you know, she's the same way. She could do anything. You ask her to do it, she's doing it immediately. You give her 30 seconds of TV time, she's going to make you remember it. Everything that Chelsea does is a 10, and no one's like her. So, you know, props to her, and I think the world of her, and I feel like the feeling is mutual.
It would be really cool to see you guys reunite or get back together. Even if it was like you with Chelsea and even Piper together, it'd be like a cool visual. I think we never fully got to where we could get with it. And it'd be cool to see if we could get there one day. Hey, yo, have you guys heard about 500 Level? They make officially licensed WWE merchandise, and I actually have been working with them on a couple of designs. A design that I worked on recently was with a girl named Caitlin, who's a big Dakota Kai fan, and we designed this new Dakota Kai shirt, which you can get exclusively now at 500 Level. Once again, officially licensed with the WWE. Really wanted a new Dakota Kai shirt. got this one designed and made, and it's on the website now, on sale now. 500level.com, guys. Join their partnership program. You get discounts the more shirts you buy. 10%, 20%, 30%. You earn points and you get a discount. They have OG shirts, guys. I had to re-up on my NWO shirts on 500 level, the comfortable material if you get the premium shirts, but even the non-premium is super comfortable. I got NWO shirts. They got Shawn Michaels shirts. You can find some of your favorite wrestlers on there. You can find none other than guys like Razor Ramon, the bad guy. Check out this shirt. It's a sweet, sweet shirt, everybody. 500level.com. Like I said, they have the NWO stuff. And if you're like a big NXT fan, they got shirts for all of your favorite NXT wrestlers. And if they don't, let me know, and I'll make sure we get some shirts made for your favorite NXT wrestler. I went to go support my girl, Carmen Petrovic. You guys can check out our casual conversation on my YouTube channel. You can check out mine and Carmen Petrovic's casual conversation. But 500 level had a Carmen Petrovic shirt. I had to go support my fellow Canadian and the homie Carmen Petrovic, guys. 500level.com, guys. Check them out. Get premium, officially licensed WWE shirts that you cannot find in a WWE shop all the time. They have a huge selection on their website also for MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL. They got shirts for everything, but their wrestling selection is insane. Custom creative designs. Maybe I can work together with someone out there that is an editor that wants to put more designs on the website. Hit me up. 500level.com. Check them out and keep doing the thing. But I want to talk about the TNA thing, but I have one last question that I probably should ask, because Survivor Series is coming here to Vancouver, in my hometown, and we're getting a War Games, and we just talked about the Robert Stone brand. So I'm curious, if you could manage a team that was going into War Games, who would be on that team? You could be on it yourself as well, but who would be the other 4 people?
Well, so these are from Raw or SmackDown or NXT?
Anywhere.
From anywhere?
Yeah.
Woohoo! That's
your dream War Games team to walk.
For that. Okay, so some names that are popping. And do they have to be active wrestlers?
Oh man, that's tough, because I kind of want to hear what legends you would say. I kind of want to hear of all time quickly, though. To be honest, if you could take 4 guys of all time, if you want to include yourself, if you don't want to include yourself and you just want to be the Bobby Heenan for the team, then you could say 5 guys.
I'm not going near that cage. Are you crazy? I'm not going near the cage. I'm on the outside of the cage. I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna go with Kurt Angle. I am going to go with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I mean, I think that is a pretty unbeatable team.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's stacked. That's stacked. Let's talk about TNA. Obviously, you have a lot of history in TNA, but it's so cool because we've been seeing this crossover now. We've seen a lot of TNA superstars like Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry show up on NXT, and we've seen a lot of NXT superstars like Soruka and Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace on TNA. Is there a chance we see you back in TNA?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do it if the relationship keeps moving forward. I would love to at some point go back. It's crazy because I feel like, God, it's like, as time goes on, you feel like that was a whole different lifetime and a different world, and definitely a different hairstyle. But, it's hard to believe that I was there for almost 8 years and was a former X Division champ, a television champ, a 2-time tag champ. Like, I did a lot there, and I feel like a lot of people don't even know. A lot of people still go, "Oh, that was you. You were Robbie E." Like they forget and don't even realize. So yeah, I mean, it would be so much fun to go back to. They still have the same names for their big events like Slammiversary and Bound for Glory, and I have so many great memories on some of those shows. So to return, even just to be a part and hang out in the locker room would be fun. Just to see it all and those memories come back to me.
No, that would be fast. How do you feel about the relationship and the fact that the WWE's in this position now where NXT has this relationship with TNA?
I mean, it's so cool. These are the things, I did a post on Instagram last week. It was a picture of me wrestling AJ Styles, and it was from 2012. Someone tweeted it to me, and it made me just go like, in that time, what's going on now would have been impossible. Like you never would have thought something like this would have happened ever. And the fact that it is, it's unreal, it's surreal. And it's just so cool for the wrestling fans to be able to say like, hey, I want to see this guy versus this guy. No, that'll never happen. Well, you never know. It actually might or could happen now. So, and it's great for a lot of the newer NXT people who are getting to experience, a different ring, a different crowd, a different setup, because everything in sports entertainment to me is all about experience. So you want to get as many experiences as you can, and it just makes you a better performer.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic here, guys. I want to let you guys know that there's a limited edition Wrestling Classic tee. I'm wearing it right now, but I got to show you the back because it's in collaboration with none other than HQ Clothing, guys. It says Conquered in the back because that's what we do. We're out here conquering it every day, guys. Wear this shirt, remember to conquer it, do the thing, keep doing the thing. HQ Clothing, Headquarters Clothing, limited edition Wrestling Classic shirts. There's only like 70 left. There's only 100 printed. Make sure you get them before they're gone. I truly, truly, truly appreciate your support. Conquer it. Get it now. Put the link in the description below. Let's talk about your TNA run a little bit really quickly. Who came up with the Robbie E character? I know it was based off of the Jersey Shore, but who was like the person that's like, you're the guy and we're going to do this?
So I was a fan of the show anyway, and I was there for a tryout match that actually Terry Taylor booked me in. I was going against a guy named Bobby Fish, who I'm sure that you know.
Yeah.
And a few hours before the show, the producer for the match was Pat Kenny, who's formerly Simon Diamond on ECW. And I kind of knew him. We were from the same area. We were buds. And Vince Russo walked by, who was the writer of the show, and Pat just made a joke to him and said, "Hey, Vince, you wanted to do a Jersey Shore character? This guy's from Jersey." And literally that was it. He looked at me. They talked alone. Pat, who was our producer for the match, came back and just said, "Hey, they want you to spike your hair up for the match and kind of fist pump on the way to the ring." I spiked my hair up. I had never done it before. I fist pumped on the way to the ring. And after my entrance, they said, hire him. They didn't even care about the match. And that was it. So if he never made that joke to him, "Hey, Vince, you want to do a Jersey Shore character?" If that joke was never made, Robbie E never would have happened, and who knows where I would be, you know?
In a sense, it was almost like you came in as a comedic character. But by Turning Point 2010, you're defeating Jay Lethal for the X Division Championship. What did that moment mean to you to win that championship, your first title in that?
It was great because you got to remember at that time, there wasn't NXT yet. International stuff was still international. It wasn't coming to America. There was no other television promotions. It was really just TNA. That was the only other alternative to WWE. So it was a big deal at the time. And there was only a few titles. It was a big deal. It meant a lot to me. It was my first major championship win. And like you said, so early on, and I got to prove myself that I could go in the ring in a long match against such a great opponent like Jay was. And we had known each other previous from Jersey. But yeah, that stands out as one of my greatest moments in wrestling.
Tell me about the pairing with Rob Terry. How did that come about? Was it cool to have a big muscle guy like that? How was working with Rob Terry?
I think it was just kind of like, I was kind of lingering a little bit with not much to do. He was the same. We both had the name Rob, and they said, "Hey, guys, figure something out." But we came up with a lot. Big Rob and Bigger Rob, the list, the rope to get into VIP. We did a lot of cool stuff, and we made it into something. And he's the greatest. I still talk to him, every now and then, but I still talk to him. He's still doing his thing. He's doing a lot of bodybuilding stuff, and he is just a great guy, great human being. He's way nicer than you look at him and you're scared, but he's a big.
If he still is jacked, I need to go look this up after. He was huge.
Check out his Instagram. He actually looks better now than he did then. It's crazy.
No way. Tell me about the idea of the bromance. Who came up with that, and what was the idea behind the bromance?
Same thing. I think one thing ended and another thing just had to begin, and they looked at me and looked at Jesse Goddard's and said, "You guys just would look great together. You're both into bodybuilding and that kind of stuff." But again, the idea for us to be together was one thing, but we kind of took it to the next level with the entrance and the matching gear and the poses and, the catchphrases. You got to take a little something and run with it. That's what wrestling is all about. Make a little something into something.
What is one of your favorite memories from your TNA run personally? Something that stands out to you the most?
I think it was just, I was in my mid to late 20s. It was a time when I was younger in my life, traveling so much that you can't even remember. I think it was just kind of like the lifestyle of constantly being on the move back then, because there was live events every weekend. There was TV every week. There was a lot of international stuff. So I think just moving. And just a lot of friendships I made there that I still have to this day. In wrestling, they say, there's not many real friends, but I did make some real friends there that I'm still friends with. So, yeah, good times in my life for sure.
What was the main reason you left TNA when you left TNA?
I think it was just time. I had done everything there that there was to do. And I was, my age, I was getting up in my 30s, and I've just, obviously, the number one place I've always wanted to be, as I think anyone wants to or should, is the WWE. I don't feel wrong saying that. It's where I want to be forever. And I wanted to give it a shot, and I did, and I'm glad I did. It worked out.
If you could see any dream TNA versus NXT matches that we haven't seen yet, if you can give me one, like what's one match you'd like to see?
Same question. Current? You're saying with current people?
Current. We're gonna say with current this time.
Well, I think a guy, he's probably now maybe the longest reigning tenure there in TNA is who was there when I was there, and a good friend of mine, Eddie Edwards. He's phenomenal in the ring, and he's never been in a WWE ring. So I feel like Eddie going up against anyone, there's a long list of people I think he could have 5-star dream matches against. So yeah, just Eddie Edwards versus anyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. This one actually comes from my friend on Instagram, a wrestling historian, and he wanted me to specifically ask you, will we ever get the Why It Ended podcast coming back at any time or anymore?
Hey, again, to use the line again, you never say never. Definitely not in the near future, but hey, maybe one day. That was a cool thing I think we had that for maybe almost a year. That had a pretty good run, yeah.
Well, it left an impression on people, because when I asked people some questions I should ask you, that came up twice, but I know a wrestling historian specifically asked to ask that, so I'm going to put that in there. Last but not least, I always like to ask people this question to wrap things up, and I want to ask you, and I think, I feel like I always ask the question, I feel like I already know the answer, but I feel like it's a nice moment for you to kind of retrospect for a second. Do you feel like you've made your younger self proud?
1,000%. Yeah. And you gotta, and that's the thing, you do so much. Sometimes you got to just stop and just say like, wow, I did all that, or that happened, or this. I mean, it's even like you asking about, how's it like working with Shawn Michaels? Like I regularly have to say like, I work with Shawn Michaels. Like I just talked to Shawn, or you know what I mean? You got to pinch yourself sometimes and remind yourself of how much you've done. So I certainly have. When I was younger, it was a time when every wrestler was huge. So to say how small I was back then and say, wow, you actually turned it into this, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
it is, and I think you're right. I've talked about that before, where a lot of us are so focused on moving forward and what's next and what we need to work on, or we're just so in the moment grinding and working that we don't stop and smell the roses. Sometimes we don't sit there and go like. I remember I had a friend and I was complaining about some stuff, and she's like, "Hey, like, have you ever thought about how other people might think some of the stuff you've done is so cool and people would die to do that, and you're doing it.
Yeah, that's it.
And you're not being grateful about it, other people would wish they were in your shoes and got to do this and got to do that, and you're doing it, and you're like, this is not enough. But it is.
Yeah. Think about your friends maybe from high school or whatever and what they're doing compared to you, and you definitely got to be thankful and stay positive. But yeah, I am pretty good at reminding myself regularly though, and being appreciative for everything going on in my life. So
do your kids have a favorite match to watch of yours or anything at this point?
Besides that tank thing that they're pulling up, not really.
Do they ever trip out when they see the Robbie E hairstyle?
Yeah, so their younger years, they didn't really pay attention or watch much wrestling. But last year they were on NXT TV a few times in some segments with me. So they had their little run at their elementary school of telling their teacher and everyone that they're TV stars and everything. But now they're focused on sports. They play like every sport. So just when they want to make fun of me on YouTube and find me getting beat up, that's the only time they really pay attention to wrestling.
We'll touch base again in 20 years and see if we get some second generation superstars coming.
Hey, if they want it.
I'm sure if you talk to Rick Steiner in 1995 before he had Braun, even as a child, he would be like, I don't know, but look where we're at.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. This was great. Everyone check out Halloween Havoc on Peacock PLE this Sunday. Stacked card. A lot of cool talent. What do you think about Delta? How cool is that? Oh, I guess her name is now Zarya. Yeah.
Well, it's just adding to the amazing women's division that's in NXT. I mean, hands down, the best in the world. And yeah, you talk about dream matches. There's so many just within NXT. So yeah, wild.
I mean, look, all those Stephanie Vakira, Julia, Zarya, Jordan Grace coming to wrestle any one of them, here for it. Down to see it.
Yeah. And those names, you go up to any, huge wrestling fan and you ask who they think are the best women wrestlers in the world. A lot of them are going to say some of the names you just said. So for all of them to be in one place, that's crazy.
Yeah, and like not even to just even say TNA. Like if you look at like we've seen a lot of main roster stars coming down to NXT and Wrestle in terms of like Randy Orton, Io, and Jade and Bianca and Kyrie. Imagine CM Punk. Imagine some of some of those women coming down and wrestling those women eventually at some point. Like we saw the stare down with Io and Kyrie with Stephanie and Julie, and it's like, oh, there's history there for those that are the hardcore wrestling fans, and it's like it'd be cool to see them in this place having matches too. So there's a ton of great stuff going on. NXT is always growing.
Yeah, endless matches to look forward to.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Hope we can do this again down the road. And everybody go follow Robert Stone. And if there ever comes to an election, vote for him over Stevie Turner.
Please. That's a given.
We'll keep doing the thing.
It's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.